All right, here we are, door 17. Let's see. All right, so door 17 is over here by the Christmas tree. It's a pretty decent sized square. Let's see what's in here. It is another embossing folder. And this one looks like it's a lattice pattern. See what we're going to do. So today we had this really nice lattice embossing folder in the advent calendar. So I decided we already did some partial cutting. I used it for the double Dutch door. So I wanted to do something a little different. So I took out my vellum. Now I had been told that you can use tracing paper instead of vellum. And tracing paper is a lot less. I even got this for 50% off at Hobby Lobby when they run it on sale every couple of months. So I took the folder. This is the folder. Let me bring this really close to the camera. This is the folder run through the manual MIDI machine. And this is what I got. This is the tracing paper run through the same machine. And this is what I have. So they look pretty identical. There was no cracking. They acted pretty much the same. So I was like, okay, well that worked. So then I wanted to know if there would be a difference between running it through the manual machine and the electric machine. And yes, this ran through my Pro. This was through the MIDI. So you'll definitely get a stronger impression if you run it through the electrical machine, or you would have to add extra shims into the manual machine. And then that would make it harder to crank through. So I'm going to be using the electric machine today on this teeny tiny little embossing folder, which seems kind of silly, but that's what I'm going to do to get the better emboss. So I did take out a piece of Crafter's Companion vellum I had just for comparison. I only had colored left, but if you look at the Crafter's Companion vellum versus the tracing paper, there really isn't much difference in how it embossed. So I think I will be using tracing paper, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. So that's the lesson for today. Well, the next thing I decided is I wanted to know what color card I should put this on. Because if you put it on the white, it gets a little lost. So then I thought, well, maybe a light color would work. And that's better. It shows up a little bit better. But then I also had some of these dark ones left. And that really did help it show up against the white. Because when you emboss vellum or tracing paper, it comes up white. So definitely the darker color showed it up better. So I'm going to go with this darker color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this whole strip and then glue it here. And then I'm not going to be worried about having to attach it because I'm going to fold down the edges and glue it to the inside of the card. And then I'm going to score the card and just glue all this flat. Glue all this down. So then only this part of the card opens. Some people call it bookbinding. I've heard it called several different things, but that's what we're going to do today. All right, so let's start with the folder. And I did look, and you can repeat. At least I believe I can, because it looks like it just continues on. So we're about to find out. All right, so let me run this through the first time. All right, so here is the first strip. Now we're going to find out how hard it's going to be to line it up. There we go. And I'm going to stick a little piece of tape on this. And we're going to run it through. All right, so now we're going to see if this is going to work. It is a little noticeable. I think I'll have to overlap it less this time. Yep, I think this will work. So let's do this. I'm going to line it up with this one over here. And actually, if I line it up with where the pattern ends, it should be fine. Let's try that. So that will be a lot easier. Nope, that was worse. Don't think it's going to be that noticeable. All right, how much do we have left here in the end? I have a little more than a ½ inch, so I do have to run it through one more time. All right, so the last one did slide, but I think we'll be fine because we'll be able to fold this underneath here. I think we'll be able to hide this. Yeah, it'll be okay. Once you put it on here, it'll be okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, so this is a 5x7 card. So if we want about, I think I want about 1.5 inches on here. I cut this 1.5 inches. I thought maybe I would cut it down to 1 inch, but I think I am going to keep it at 1.5 inches because I'm going to use, for the decorative part here, I'm going to use the flower that we had earlier. So I think that will be good. I don't think I want to go any smaller than that. All right, so I'm going to score this at 1 inch. All right, so if the front is scored at 5 and we want to bring it in 1.5 inches, I said 1 inch a second ago, but we want to bring it in 1.5 inches because that's what I have here. So we're going to go from 5 to 4 to 3.5, and we're going to score. So now we'll need some glue. I'm going to use the Gina K Connect glue. So we're going to place this on here. And I'm going to bring it down so we can hide that little boo-boo in the bottom there a little bit. We're going to line it up at the edge of the card. And we're going to fold. I'm going to make a fold at the top. Line it up here. Make sure it's nice and straight. And we'll get a fold on the bottom. Okay, so now we have our folds. All right, so now all we need to do, we will need to put some glue on the inside. Don't want glue past the score line. I'm going to attach it to the top, bring it around, attach it to the bottom. Let's take a look, make sure it's nice and straight. It's not overhanging. I'm going to make it a little bit tighter. right, so I'm going to pull it a little bit, make sure it's nice and tight. All right, look at it this time. Yeah, that's better. Okay, then we're going to fold, push down. Make sure our card will open without hitting. Okay, it's hitting it a little bit. It's hitting it just a smidge. Let me move this over just a little bit. There we go. That's better. All right. So now that's attached inside the card. Our card opens. And we have this part here. Let's bring in what we're going to decorate this part with. All right, so I was thinking we would cut this out here. Then on the inside, we would have the stamp going that way. And then I was thinking of using the hello on the bottom. So I was thinking I would cut this out of vellum. All right, so let me cut a piece here. Not vellum, but the tracing paper. So let me run this through the machine. All right, so let's see what this looks like. Oh, that looks pretty in vellum. So what this is here is that it was the triple easel ornate frames. These were a while back. This is the one that kind of, to me, kind of looks postage stamp almost, kind of, sort of, like a fancy postage stamp. So it is the smallest frame from this set here, is what I cut out. So that worked. Okay, that looks good. All right, so now I will need to stamp and cut this out. And I will be able to attach this. So what I'm going to do is once I cut this out, I'm going to attach this to the vellum first, because then I will know where I can hide my glue. So now I just need some white stamping card and my stamping platform. Let's move all this out of the way. Let me grab my black ink. All right, that looks pretty good. Maybe I could have pressed a little more down here. There we go, all set. So now we are stamped. So now let's die cut this out. There you go. All right, let me run this through. So now we need to color this in. I've decided on using Alpine Green for the leaves and Magenta Blend for the flowers. All right, so let's bring this back in. I think this will be about here. This will be attached here. Trying to decide. Let's see, so the hello will be down here. I think this vellum needs a little something. Let me grab something. All right, so I grabbed this small stencil I have. Yeah, let's move that out of the way before we get in, and the smoked plum. Now, I'm going to take this scrap piece here and see what this looks like. See if that shows up. That may not be dark enough. Let me grab something different. All right, so I grabbed the jet black water reactive. Now, probably I'm going to have to dry this on here. But I'm going to lightly go over this just to give it a little something something. I'm going to go heavier in the middle. Let's see what we have. A little more down here. That's good. Okay, it's dry. So now when we put the flower on here, let's bring this back in. It has just a little extra oomph there, and I think that helps. Let me grab my glue. Do I want to put this on foam? I think I do. I'm going to grab my foam dots that I have. Scoot that up. We'll put one here. One down here. One over here. One over here. Now we will place this in the middle. Let's see. I'm going to put it at a little bit of an angle. That looks pretty even. All right. So now this will be on here. So now we have plenty of space back here to glue. We're never going to see it. So the only thing we have left to do is to cut out the hello. Now, I tried white, I tried black, both looked a little stark. So then I have my silver Certura pearl. So I thought that was a little bit better. It wasn't so stark. So I'm going to cut the hello out in this. Yeah, I like the hello. All right, so then let's attach these. So we are now free to put all the glue we want. There we go. We'll put that about here. That will be nice and secure. Now we just need the hello. I'm going to use my fine tip bottle for this, because that's just plain paper and plain paper. I think I will have to put something underneath there to hold that down, because it's curling a little bit. Put the hello. Yeah, while that dries, I will have to put something on there to hold it down flat. For now, I'm going to stick this little tiny piece of tape to hold it down while it dries. That way we can keep going. There, that will hold it down flat. All right, so now let's take a look. Looks a little plain. What can we add? Not sure if I like the hello on there. All right, let me think about this for a moment. I think this looks a little plain, so I'm going to pull this off. Hopefully it's not completely dry. It's okay, we're going to cover it. That looks too plain to me. So let's see, so if we used, put this over here for a moment. So if we use the smallest one, that would be square. I think this one would be too big. That might be all right. All right. I'm going to cut this out of the Certura Pearl Silver. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so let's try this. Take the dies, don't get lost. Here. It just looks like that silver's kind of odd out. It's the only silver there. Yeah, let me cut another piece of vellum. Just pull this off. Let me do another piece of vellum. All right, so we have another piece of vellum. Put this on the silver. Just going to put a couple dots on the back here. All right, push that down. Bring this back in. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Yeah, that looks a lot more finished. Glue this on. Let's see, that's better. I still think it needs something else. Maybe some gems. All right, so let's try these. These are from the Year of Craft. So we have the pink, which is similar to that color. We do have some peach. Nope. I think I want a contrasting color. There's some green. Might work. Let's see. So if we put them in the corners, that would give us a place to glue that down to. All right, so let's take some of these out. All right, so that's on there. That's looking better. So now maybe some down here. All right, well, that's looking better. All right. Now I'm getting happier. All right, so now I'm thinking, we want to put a couple down here. I think that looks a lot better. The embossed vellum, attached it to the front, made a partial opening card or book binding card, whatever you want to call it. And then on the inside, we can just cut another, I would just cut one of these out of probably the silver again. Yeah, so for the inside, I would put a big silver one. And then I would go down, oh no, that's actually the medium one in the set. I would go down to the smallest one, or even the rectangles that are in here. Let's see. Yeah, I think I would cut the rectangle out in white, which I will do. All right, let's see what this looks like. This way. Yeah, so I would do this. So I'm not going to stamp anything on here for now because I don't know who I'm going to send this card to. So I'm just going to leave it. So what I did, let me bring this set back in here. So this is the size that we used for the front. So we used the smallest one for the front. Then we used the medium one to cut it out. That was what we used in the front. So then I used the medium one again for the inside. And then it also comes with these 2 plain rectangles. Well, there's 3. 1, 2, 3 plain rectangles. So I took the medium size plain rectangle, and that fits in there like that. So then once I decide who I'm going to send this to, I'll stamp it with a message for the inside and then glue it in there then. But yeah, I'm much happier now that we added the gems and the frame to that. That looks much better. And then that will just sit in there. All right, so I'm back. I've looked at this card for a couple minutes and I still think it's missing something. So I went back and looked at this die set, and there's this teeny tiny little die here that's meant to be the stopper. So I was wondering, what would it look like if I use these, put the gems on top, put this on the card. And I think that looks a lot better. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull these off. Been a lot of pulling off of things today. Oops, don't rip that. Okay. So now, we are going to glue these on. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do 3 or 5. Now that we're gluing these on, I can actually lift this up and put a little dab of glue in there. We're going to be covering these. All right, so we're going to put one here in the middle, one here down in the bottom. Let's see, we'll glue this to this. This will go on here. We'll put this in the middle. All right, may need more glue on that one. All right, so that is a lot better, I think. So I have 2 more. So the question is, do we want to put 5? I think I'm going to go 5. Yeah, that looks a lot more finished, I think. So I don't know. I'm not still convinced silver is the correct color for the hello. So I cut out a black. And I cut out a fuchsia color to match the flowers. I think I'm going to replace the silver with the fuchsia. So I'm just going to glue this on top. Just lay it directly on top. There you go. I like that better. All right, now I think it's time to walk away. Put the card down and stop messing with it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and until tomorrow, stay crafty.